Josh, we listen. We have some. To me, these are more of the fun topics for me because the topics where I get to see you just absolutely shit on teams or people, or like those are the things that are like really fun for me. So that's something that I want to see. So let's talk about the Clippers. They're 6-18. They're tied for second to last place in the Western Conference. Only the Pelicans are worse. And boy, are the Pelicans bad. They're 3-20.
They're very bad.
They are almost as bad as the Thunder are good, which is frightening to say, by the way. The Thunder are 23-1. They oh my God. I'll tell you something, Josh, before we get into the Clippers real quick. I really think the Thunder are going to break the record. They're
absolutely going to break the record.
They're going to they could shatter it. Like they could go like 77-5.
Yeah.
Like I really think they're that good.
Yeah.
So
there has not been once they got to like 15-1, I was just like, oh no, this is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost since then.
Now, here's the thing. Is do they break the record and then lose in the finals just like the Warriors did?
Which is why no one should really be talking about it unless they actually win the title with it.
Yeah. Listen, we'll see, man. But Josh, you were gracious enough to have our good friend Alfred break down the timeline for the.
I wrote up this timeline and sent it to Alfred with his graphic knowledge to then make a nice graphic for it. But I decided to write up the timeline of events of what has happened with the Clippers this season. So obviously the big news, September 3rd, is before the season begun, but that's when all the news with aspiration, Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard, all that began. So obviously putting a big black cloud over the franchise before the season began, where they were projected to once again win 50 games and projected to be a top 4 team in the West. October 24th is when the season has just begun, but now the poker rigging scandal emerged with Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, and Coach Tyronn Lue is brought up in it. Not saying he was like part of the evil regime, but he was at the game that it all like was taking place. So now there's another cloud with the controversy. Then you're having the actual season where November 3rd, Kawhi gets hurt again, out for a few weeks with a sprained right foot. November 12th, Bradley Beal, who they brought in, who they thought they could rejuvenate his career, well, he fractures his hip and he's out for the season. November 16th, Derrick Jones sprains his MCL. He is currently still out with injury. And then they just keep losing and losing and losing some more. And then we have this last week where December 3rd, they waived one of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA who went back to the Clippers for his farewell tour in Chris Paul. We'll touch more on that in a moment. The following day, Lawrence Frank obviously is bombarded with questions, and he reiterates that Tyronn Lue is not going anywhere. They're trying to right the ship. They have the right coaching and team in place is what he says, and we're going to be fine. That same day, they then waived two-way player Jamil Telford. Now, he's not like a big player, so why is that a big deal that they waived him? It's a big deal because he actually played in that game that they had that night, where they won in Atlanta. He played in the game, and within an hour after the game was cut by the team. Then they, all of a sudden on December 6th, 2 days after that, lots of talks begin in completely blowing up the team because aside from that one within Atlanta, they keep losing. So now we're looking for trade suitors for Harden, Kawhi, John Collins, who they just brought in, as well as Zubac, who probably will have the most trade value. And this is where we are today. So this is in a span of 3 months, 2 months worth of, not even 2 months worth of NBA season. The Clippers had all these items happen. And you know what is not mentioned in any of these? Wins or losses. This is just stuff that's happening beyond that, between the front office, the health, and the morale that's been going on with this team.
Yep.
So now, obviously, going back to Chris Paul, because that we know is the biggest story out of all of that in the timeline.
Sure.
So is Chris Paul the point guard that he once was? No, of course he's not. Is he currently an all-star caliber level player? No, of course not. And he doesn't claim that he would be either. Just last season, Chris Paul played all 82 games. He played the entire season and still averaged around 9 points and almost like around 7.5 assists off the bench for the Spurs while he was trying to help guide Wemby. And what does he do? He decides, this is going to be my final year. I want to go back to the team I had the most success for, where he is considered the greatest player in that team's history. And I want to have my farewell season. I understand I'm coming off the bench. I understand there might be some games where I don't play. But I want to help try to steer the ship and get the Clippers to another promising season. Because we knew already going in that they were going to be in this bridge. That, okay, based on their age and who they have, they pretty much have this year, maybe a little next year, and then the rebuild's going to really begin and try to set a future in this beautiful new arena. We're away from the Lakers now. We have our own world. We're hosting the All-Star game. And then lawsuit, aspiration, crime with the poker rigging scandal, where, again, Tyronn Lue is not being, accused of anything, but he was at the game. So obviously there's the cloud over that. And then the injuries happen, and then they just kick Chris Paul out, who also said he wanted to go back to LA because he was sick of living away from his family. He wanted his final season not to be far away from his family. And it's not a type of thing where after this road trip, they brought him back and agreed on a buyout. Hey, it's not working. We're going to do this. Best of luck to you. No, they flat out said, we're done with you at a time where they couldn't even say it because they can't waive players for another week. The Clippers have done something that cannot be done in sports, and that is treat a multi-billion-dollar organization like a failed startup company. And you think, okay, well, maybe there will be a future with it. Well, we've talked a little bit about their future draft assets on the show, but I will reiterate again. They do not have a first-round pick in 2026. That pick is unprotected to the freaking Thunder.
Yeah.
They do not have a first-round set pick in 2027 because the Thunder have the right to swap picks with them in 2027. They do not have a pick, period, in 2028, first or second. And in 2029, they do not have control of their first-round pick because Philadelphia has the right to swap picks with them. So it is fire sale for the Clippers in hopes of trying to get really picks because they're not going to bring in star-studded talent. You're going to have to trade Harden for who knows what. You're going to have to trade Kawhi for who knows what. You're going to have to trade Zubac for who knows what. And all of a sudden, you have a franchise with the state-of-the-art arena trying to bring in revenue, has already been losing revenue because of the fact that no one is going to the games. I was at the Clippers Heat game early in the season, and there were more people there to cheer on Norman Powell's return to the Clippers than they were cheering for the Clippers themselves. Who, by the way, Norman Powell, he's about to be an all-star.
Yeah.
Because he has single-handedly made Miami, who was supposed to be in rebuild mode, a strong team in the East all of a sudden. You've done this, and it is only getting worse for the Clippers. It will not get better until it gets worse. I'm out of breath.
Yeah. I mean, this is as...
What else is there? What else can be said?
Well, I mean, Patrick L. Brown has something that he would like to say on this topic. The LA flippers, slippers, grifters, jitters, blippers, no matter the name, all the same. Nobody cares about the stepchild who haven't won a title. That is true. They are the stepchild and they haven't won a title. That's also true. Listen, this is a I think this is as poorly run of an organization as there is in the NBA.
Yeah.
What they've done to sabotage their future is unlike anything else in the league. And they were also Josh, it's kind of hard to describe in a sense because I felt like they gave up on trying to win a title, but they also can't let go of it. Like, does that make sense? Like, their original effort in trying to pursue a title was something that, like, they failed to capitalize on. But yet now that it isn't working, now that it definitely isn't working, they're not giving up on it. And this just feels very tone deaf for what the league is now. Because here's the thing. Like, we just saw it. I'll pull up the graphic again, right? Just for the sense of this bottom piece, right? Blowing the team up and finding trade suitors for Kawhi, Harden, Collins, and or Ivica Zubac, right? I mean, there's no real valuable asset here where they can recoup some of their losses. They can't, right? Like Zubac might net you a first-round draft pick, but that's probably
Zubac will get you the most, honestly, because he is still on the underside.
Right.
So he could get you a first and a swap.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It depends on the team that offers it.
Right. But also, I don't know that you could trade Kawhi. I don't know that you could trade Harden. And I don't know that you could trade. I mean, you might be able to trade John Collins, but what value does John Collins have now? I don't know that he's got much of any. I mean, he's kind of bounced around a bunch. And while he's a solid player, I mean, I don't think you're going to get some real firm assets for him. Zubac, I think, might be the only player that can give you some value. Kawhi and Harden, I think you're stuck with. I don't think there's any team in the league that would take Kawhi or Harden right now.
Well, in Kawhi, his issue is, well, can you legitimately trade him right now with all the legal stuff that's happening in the investigation with aspiration? Because how will that look if now all of a sudden you're trying to remove him from the books entirely?
Right.
And so, to your point, why would any other team want to touch that?
Right.
John Collins will probably get traded for expiring pieces, so then the Clippers can open up cap room. And then they still have guys like Brook Lopez and Nick Batum, aging guys just sit on their bench that they could also just trade for other expiring pieces. The only one to me of the intrigue is Harden, just because he individually is having a great season. His points per game are fantastic. Could he help a team? Sure. But the question, again, to your point, what would they be willing to give up? Because if the Clippers are just willing to try to give anyone, they're not going to get nearly the type of value that you would expect from a guy like Harden.
Well, right. I mean, this is his age 36 season.
Oh, yeah. He's old.
I mean, to his credit, he's averaging 27 a game.
Right.
But, you also have to keep in mind the reputation of what James Harden is in the NBA, right? James Harden as good of a scorer as he's been, and to his credit, as good of a passer as he's been, James Harden has the reputation of just not being a winning basketball player in this league.
Oh, of course.
Right? So,
yeah.
But you also, like I said, you have to keep in mind that James Harden falls into a group of players that I feel like only a select group of teams will actually participate in trading for, right? And it's the teams that always seem to make these kinds of moves, right? The Lakers, the Heat, Philadelphia, like the teams that can't really figure it out, but they're still trying by just kind of shuffling veterans. That's kind of what they do.
I will just throw one curveball in there. I mean, again, I don't know how salary caps and aprons and all that could potentially work, but I look at a team like Boston for Harden.
Yeah.
Just because, like, hey, for like the year since there's no Tatum, and like the team is doing okay.
Yeah.
Would it be worth giving it a shot?
Right.
And then seeing if it sticks or not. But to your point, aside from that, his potential suitors are teams like Lakers, Heat, and are either of them going to give up substantial picks for him? No,
probably not.
Nor should they.
Right.
So the Clippers are just in an absolute free fall of a disaster.
Yeah.
And
listen, the one thing the Clippers have going for them is they do lead the NBA in free throw percentage. They do. They shoot about 83% from the line, which leads the NBA.
I will tell you, the wall works. I witnessed it. It is bizarre, but it works. And the road teams always choose to face that side of the court for the first half of the game because they don't want in clutch time going up against the wall. And you see, like, and there were stats all last season, opponents' free throw percentage also was way down on that side of the court. So it's like, hey, that was a crazy idea that worked. Awesome. Nothing else for this franchise is working.
Right. Yeah, it's quite the pickle that they've put themselves in, without a doubt.